if your critically ill loved one is in and out of ICU with ventilation and tracheostomy, stay tuned, I've got news for you. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I have an email today from Luna who says, "Hi Patrick, my brother had a craniotomy after an aneurysm and a stroke. He has a tracheostomy. They're trying to wean him off the ventilator. He's paralyzed on his left side and he can't speak. He was speaking very softly about 3 weeks ago. Then he had a problem with the tracheostomy, so they sent him back to the hospital. They removed the tracheostomy, and by day 2, he couldn't breathe. By day 3, he was put back on the tracheostomy, and he was back in ICU and sedated, and he was sleeping for 1 week. The problem is, he is now awake, but the hospital is 60 miles away for both ways for me, and I can only go twice a week, and his girlfriend is with him every day in the morning, but it's also 60 miles away for her. His sons don't go and see him. I think he's heartbroken and he has gone backwards in his rehabilitation. I read to him, play music for him. He holds my hand and I cry. He was a very active 65-year-old man, and now he doesn't have the ability to hold a cup. I guess I have to trust the process, but we absolutely and desperately want him at home. Is this possible?" Well, thank you so much for your email. And yes, it is absolutely possible to get your brother home after all this time in ICU, especially if he's sort of been going back and forth with tracheostomy in, tracheostomy out. It sounds to me like he is ready to go home after all this time. And with intensive care at home, we can help you with taking him home, no problem. And what are the steps here that you need to take to get your brother home? So first off, we need to talk more and find out exactly what is his current clinical status. But if he's ventilator dependent and tracheostomy dependent and he's clinically stable, he's off inotropes or vasopressors, he's pretty much ready to go home. And the weaning process can continue at home. And that is actually a much better environment compared to an ICU environment. Think about it. You're in an ICU, you don't have natural daylight. Sometimes patients are stuck in a bed space or a cubicle without natural daylight at all, and there's no fresh air, and it's just not a very good environment for long-term patients. So therefore, going home makes a lot of sense. And people really thrive at home in terms of their quality of life at home. And it's no surprise, once they're surrounded back with their families, you don't have to drive 60 miles. And you're mentioning your brother's girlfriend, is driving 60 miles, whatever the case may be. It's not conducive for anyone staying in an ICU long term. And there's enough case studies on our website and testimonials to, highlight the work that we are doing and how patients should be looked after at home instead of ICU. So the mechanics around it are as follows. Number one, ICUs need their beds, right? It's the most sought after bed in a hospital, the ICU bed. It's also the most expensive bed in a hospital, the ICU bed, right? So with the ICU bed being the most expensive bed with $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day, right? It is clear that someone wants to pay half of that, which is what intensive care at home charges roughly. We cut the cost of the intensive care bed by around 50%, and any funding body will have an interest in cutting the cost of an ICU bed by 50%. On top of that, by freeing up the ICU bed, they can take in other patients into ICU. On top of that, and most importantly, with intensive care at home, you and your family and your brother, most of all, will improve your quality of life and your brother's quality of life. We're bringing the intensive care into the home. That is much more patient and family friendly and holistic compared to leaving patients in ICU long term. It's as simple as that, right? So, people often come to us and say, "Oh, what about the money? What about the funding?" Well, someone is paying for your family member's ICU bed, and they're paying a lot of money, right? So always keep that in mind, that someone is paying for that ICU bed, and it's a lot of money. And the funding bodies in general have an interest in cutting the cost of the ICU bed by around 50%. And like I said, I will come to more details about the funding bodies in Australia in particular towards the end of this video. Equipment needs to be organized, of course, we can help with that. And of course, a team needs to be organized at home in your location, which once again, we are the experts on. We are creating teams in a home care environment all the time, right? And we know what we need to look for to send you the right staff who are qualified, have the right mindset, right attitude, and so forth. So it is a fairly straightforward process, especially since we have a lot of experience with discharges from ICU, to a home care environment. And it all comes down to selecting the right staff for the right client and making sure it's done safely. Now, with intensive care at home, we are currently operating all around Australia in all major capital cities, as well as in all regional and rural areas. And we are sending our critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day. Therefore, we are providing a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care for ventilation and tracheostomy for adults and children. We're also providing intensive care at home for home BiPAP, home CPAP, ventilation without tracheostomy. And also we're providing home TPN, home IV potassium infusions, home IV magnesium infusions, as well as PICC line and central line management, as well as Hickman's line management and portacath management at home. We're also providing ventilation weaning at home. We're also providing nasogastric tube management and PEG tube management at home. We're also providing palliative care services at home. We're also sending our critical care nurses into the home for emergency department bypass services. We have done so successfully as part of the Western Sydney Local Area Health District, their In Touch program, saving approximately $2,000 per patient that we keep at home instead of going to an emergency department. We're also cutting the cost of an intensive care bed by around 50%, because the intensive care bed costs around $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day. Our service is around 50% of that. And we're freeing up the most sought after and most expensive bed in the hospital, which is the intensive care bed. Most importantly, however, we're improving the quality of life for patients and their families, so it's a win-win situation for everyone and for all stakeholders. We are an NDIS-approved service provider all around Australia, TAC and WorkSafe in Victoria, iCare in New South Wales, NIISQ in Queensland, as well as the Department of Health, as well as the Department of Veteran Affairs all around Australia. Our clients and we as a provider have also received funding through public hospitals, private health funds, as well as departments of health. We are the only service provider in Australia that has achieved third-party accreditation for intensive care at home nursing in 2025. We have been achieving this high level of accreditation since 2012. No other provider has achieved this high level of accreditation in the community in Australia and has created more intellectual property for intensive care at home nursing than we have. This puts us in a privileged position to employ hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined in the community. No other service provider in 2025 employs a higher skill level in the community than we do, which enables us to look after the highest acuity adults and children in the community in Australia safely. Now, if you're stuck in an ICU, like this gentleman is with our email from today, or if you're at home already and you're watching this, or you have a family member at home, of course, or in a hospital in an ICU, and you realize that you don't have the right level of support, and if you're stuck in ICU, you understand this is not the right environment. I'll give you a very tangible example today how we can help you. One of our first clients over 10 years ago was a client who was at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy with the support worker model, 24 hours a day. Of course, support workers cannot look after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. That is like flying an airplane with the cabin crew instead of the pilot, because anyone on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is at very high risk of medical emergencies or dying if they don't have critical care nurses at home looking after them 24/7. As is evidence-based, by the way, and documented in our mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website at intensivecarehome.com. Eventually, this client found out about us and also the hospital and the ICU that the client was regularly going back to and almost living in, and we were able to go take him home and prove our concept with intensive care at home and save the funding body half of the cost of the intensive care bed. And we proved that model within a couple of weeks, really, because when we worked with the client and we sent him intensive care nurses 24 hours a day, he never, ever went back into ICU ever again. And the concept was proven. We can do the same for you if you're not safe at home, which includes the advocacy for funding that goes along with it. We have always successfully advocated for our clients, otherwise we would not be in business. This is also why we're providing level 2 and level 3 NDI support coordination. We have a team of NDI support coordinators and they have a wealth of knowledge. I've done an interview with Amanda Riches, one of our NDI support coordinators, and we'll put a link to the interview with Amanda in the written version of this blog. We're also providing TAC case management and WorkSafe case management in Victoria with Lucy McCotter. If you are an NDI support coordinator or a case manager from another organization watching this, you're looking for nursing care for your participants, please reach out to us as well. If you're looking for funding for nursing care for your participants and you don't know how to go about it and what evidence to provide, I encourage you to reach out to us as well. We can help you with the right level of funding and with the right level of advocacy. We're also providing NDI specialist nursing assessments done by critical care nurses with a legal nurse consulting background. If you're a critical care nurse and you're looking for a career change, you want to join a very progressive, dynamic, and high-performing team of critical care nurses in the community. We are employing hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined, and you can join our high-performing team. If you're looking for a career change, we're currently hiring for jobs for critical care nurses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, in Albury-Wodonga, in Bendigo, in Geelong, and in Warragul in Victoria. If you have worked in critical care nursing for a minimum of 2 years, pediatric ICU, ED, and you have already completed a postgraduate critical care nursing qualification, we will be delighted hearing from you. I have a disclaimer though, because we're offering a tailor-made solution for our clients, which includes regular staff. Our clients do want the same staff coming over and over again because our clients are so vulnerable and so special. That's why we need regular staff. If you're looking for agency work where you can come and go, this will not be the right fit for you. We're looking for consistency and our clients are looking for consistency. So please only apply with us if you can give us regular and consistent availability for shifts and you're really keen on building relationships with us and with our clients. And if you're an intensive care specialist or an ED specialist, we also want to hear from you. We're currently expanding our medical team as well. We can also help you eliminate your bed blocks in your ICU and ED for your long-term patients or for your regularly readmitting patients with our critical care nursing team at home. We're here to help you take the pressure off your ICU and ED beds, and in most cases, you won't even pay for it. And even if you do pay for it, it is much more cost-effective than what you're paying for in ICU and ED. And if you're a hospital executive watching this and you have bed blocks in your ICU, ED, respiratory wards, please reach out to us as well. We can help you there very fast. If you're in the US or in the UK and you're watching this and you need help, we want to hear from you as well. We can help you there privately with private nurses and with one-on-one consulting. Once again, our website is intensivecareathome.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or simply send us an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates. For families with intensive care at home and intensive care, click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and leave your comments below what you want to see next, what you think about today's topic, and what insights you have from today's video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.